Hi, this is Sucharata and here I am with the economics chapter of class 9, Poverty as a Challenge. Well, poverty is the biggest challenge that any nation can actually face. When the people do not have sufficient to eat, a good house to live or sufficient clothes to wear, then it's a very grim situation. If the people live in poverty, then they can never be happy and the nation can never think of development. In fact, development and prosperity are interconnected, because if the people are poor, how can we think that they shall be an element or they shall be a part of the progressing nation? Therefore, we are going to read about the biggest economic challenge of the country or of the world, which is called as poverty. But before we start with the chapter, let's understand some terms. First is poverty. Poverty just means that the people do not have basic necessities, that is food, clothing and shelter. When people are so poor that they cannot get their 2 times meal, when the clothes that they wear are insufficient, when the houses in which they live is not actually meant for even the animals to live, that's termed as poverty. Next is absolute poverty. Absolute poverty refers to total number of people living below poverty line. That's called as absolute poverty. Trying to understand that the number of people who are living under the poverty line. Next is poverty line. So, what actually is this poverty line that we are talking of? The poverty line is in fact that indicator, that mark which tells us that how many people are poor and how many of them are not poor. Meaning to say, poor in a sense that again they are not able to meet their basic requirements. So, we draw a line. It could be that if a person earns X number of rupees per day, then he cannot be termed as under poverty line. So, basic thing is that if you are earning X amount of money, then you cannot be termed as under poverty line. Next is social exclusion. Social exclusion. Social means of the society. Exclusion means excluded, out of it. This means that when people due to their poverty are cut off from the society, that is the basic amenities, the various facilities that are being provided to them due to economic growth, due to money, that's called as social exclusion. This is in fact a very poor situation when a person just cannot mix around with other people for the simple reason that he does not have enough money to actually go around and have a circle. Vulnerability. Vulnerability is the people who become vulnerable, who are more affected during a disaster, natural or man-made, because of their level of poverty. Because they are poor, they do not have good houses to protect themselves from any calamity, that's called as vulnerability. Economic growth. Economic growth, in fact, the standard by which we actually measure the poverty or prosperity of a country. That is, increase in the real output of a country is termed as economic growth. So, remember, economic growth is essential for the all-round development of the human beings. That is, if there is no poverty, people will be socially together, they will have better health, they will have better education, they will have good houses to live, they will have better meals to eat, that is, their nutritional values will be met with. So, economic growth is the utmost importance of a country.